Alright, I totally remembered that this guy was coming out today, and I totally didn't rush this video, but, anyways, yeah, Prowler, from, my first time experience with him he's pretty cool, very interesting, very, wonky playstyle, but yeah, honestly, he just looks super awesome, right? And this guy was a Summoner's Choice, loser, so yeah, this is the year of those apparently. And yeah, we dropped the SP2, and that's that, right? That's Prowler right there. 27 seconds, pretty dang fast. But here's how he works. So basically he has this power creep mechanic where he gains these charges, and it's based off the amount of power he drains, and he drains power when the opponent throws a special attack. So if you push them to 1.9 bars of power, and then they drop the SP1, and all that other power is drained, you pretty much max out your charges instantly. And once you do that, you can go in and just do some pretty nutty damage right here. And yeah, look at this damage output. It's really good. And additionally, with the Incinerate up from the heavy attack, whenever your ruptures expire, they do a pretty nice burst of damage. Pair that with this 27 Furies, and yeah, this man is a pretty solid damage dealer. But he is also pretty complicated, right? Because you have to line up pretty much everything perfectly. You have to do the Falter, you have to activate it while they have 0 power, because that gives you the Incinerates when you drop the heavy attack. And additionally, you have to time that perfectly too, because if you mess up the heavy attack and you let the Falter expire, you lose out on some damage, I believe. So it's okay, the window is tight for this champion, right? And when there's a tight window, my first thought is, how practical are they in Battlegrounds, for example, right? And with Prowler here, I think there are some cases for him being practical and also not practical, but first off, here is a third Cyclops, which is just amazing. Totally forgot that I already fought 2 Cyclops before this, but we're chilling. But yeah, like I was saying, with Prowler here, that rotation is very tight, right? And I don't think it's going to be the easiest to pull off in a battleground situation, but also I think this champion is going to be very satisfying to pull off, and if you master him, he's going to do some pretty great things. So yeah, overall I think this character is pretty sweet, and the damage output is very, very good. And one thing about this character that I feel is pretty cool is the fact that all of his pretty much everything is passive, except for one thing, and this is where the problems start to show up. Well, actually 2 things, but the most important thing for Prowler is that Incinerate debuff, because of the damage output it adds. And you want to know something? It's a debuff. I just don't get why everything else is passive, but then the important thing is a debuff, right? And that means that versus Purify characters, he will struggle a bit. Another thing is, well, I guess I'll just talk about it now, but I didn't want to do it just yet. But yeah, most mutant champions are Incinerate immune. For example, Kitty Pryde, who he should be pretty good for, is Incinerate immune. Havoc, who should be pretty good for Prowler, is Incinerate immune. Bishop does not like Incinerates on him. So it's okay, that's already 3 pretty important mutant characters just already countering him. Then there's Onslaught, then there's just other mutant characters like Iceman. It's okay, I feel he is just not the best for some pretty important mutant champions, and it's then what is this guy for, right? Because I feel his kit does a good job at countering mutants, except for the important part, which is his damage output. And most tech characters are Incinerators usually, but they switch their damage output to Plasma if it's a mutant character. This man didn't get the memo. And by the way, he is also a beast for evade characters because of his pursuit passive. It lasts for a very long time, and it just straight up counters evade completely. So yeah, this is pretty sweet at least. A pretty great utility piece right here. Just ignoring evade very, very awesome. And of course, like, his hits being non-critical makes him great for like safeguard here, for example. And yeah, that was a pretty clean fight. Now we have this Strife matchup, and you know, I said that he isn't good for some mutants, but he is good for like others as well. But then again, even Strife here is, you know, kind of a bad matchup because like with Strife's SP1, you can't counterattack it like you want to do with Prowler because of his miss mechanic. So you have to like hold your block, push him to the SP2, and that's where you like get your rotation going. So it's like, okay, I don't think this character is gonna do like as many mutant characters as I thought, which is kind of annoying because like on paper I was like, wow, this guy just hard counters any mutant, but he's meant for Bullseye, right? That's what he's meant for. He has like the bleed immunity, he has the evade counter, pretty straightforward Bullseye counter, but not really because Bullseye can't miss and that interrupts his whole rotation. So it's like, okay, I feel like every time I talk about this champion, I just see more faults in his kit, and it's like, you know, I think he's still pretty good. It's just the fact that like there are little pieces that don't seem important at first, but when you put it into the grand like scheme of things, then it's like, okay, good character, really fun rotation, good damage output, but some of the kit has like some pretty major flaws, right? But yeah, like of course there are solutions around it. You'll just, you know, adapt to doing less damage versus those mutant characters. You'll just like adapt your playstyle to Bullseye. Like, you know, he'll still do pretty good, I feel like. It's just what he was made for, like the rotation he was made for, just isn't gonna work for some, I think, important characters, right? However, here's Mr. Sinister. Here's a good example of like a ideal matchup for him because Mr. Sinister has like that regen on crits, which he doesn't care about because he just never crits. And Mr. Sinister also reflects any DOT towards him, right? However, Prowler's ruptures are passives, and additionally, he is immune to incinerate. So yeah, that's pretty amazing. He can't reflect the incinerate onto us, which is perfect. And yeah, this is like a good Prowler matchup, one of the better ones, 100%. But yeah, here I'm gonna go in, drop my relic, and then do that. Then he drops the SP1, which is fine. Drop my double medium into the heavy attack, then drop my SP2, and things are looking pretty good for us here. Just a super satisfying fight and a really fun play style. So yeah, this guy is doing incredible right now. We go back in, and he is now unblockable, which is unfortunate, but it's okay. Just gotta like not get hit, and yeah. Here he drops a heavy attack, no big deal, and this matchup is about to be over pretty dang soon. Go for the double medium into the heavy attack one more time, and that just seals the deal. Very fun matchup, pretty much perfect for Mr. Sinister, so there is one mutant that he does very, very well, and yeah, not too shabby in the slightest. Now we have this Domino matchup, another mutant champion that he does very well because Domino can't fail him because Prowler here has plus 15% ability accuracy for everything. Yeah, just pretty much counters Domino fully, which is amazing, of course. Like, that is a great trait to have for any champion. And yeah, Prowler here is just gonna do amazing things. We have the what is it called? I just said it. What's the evade counter called? I swear I just said it earlier, right? Or did I not say the right name? Maybe I didn't say the right name. But let's just call it the Pursuit. Yes, it's called Pursuit. The Pursuit passive. Yeah, sorry for just forgetting that. But yeah, here I dropped the heavy attack into the SP2, and it does some pretty amazing damage as per usual. The Pursuit passive is still in play here, so that's perfect. But also there is a node where like whenever we have an incinerate on her, we get to just counter evade straight up. But like his Pursuit passive at base is super useful, and additionally it grants the opponent no power, the SP1 that is. So the SP1 is safe to use to like, you know, just get that guaranteed evade counter without giving them any extra power. So yeah, honestly, that's pretty sweet. Like, this man has a pretty great kit. It's just there's some things in it that I'm like, wait, that shouldn't be there, right? Or like that shouldn't work that way. But for the most part, he's honestly just a pretty awesome champion, and he's honestly just super fun to play. So like, if you want this character, I definitely get it. He looks like an absolute beast, and he is playing like a beast right now. But yeah, just some minor complaints about the kit that like can easily be fixed with like a small, I guess, rebalance. But like I would feel kind of wrong to say like this character needs a rebalance, right? Because he's doing pretty good things already. It's just those minor things that were kind of, I guess, overlooked, right? Maybe they weren't even overlooked. Maybe he's not supposed to counter Kitty Pryde, which is confusing because he, has a non-crit. But maybe he's not supposed to counter who else did I mention? Like Havoc, for example, which kind of doesn't make sense because he has like, that mechanic where he power drains. So it's like, maybe he's not supposed to counter those characters, but on the other hand, he has parts of the kit that like really do counter those characters. So it's like, I don't really know. And for example, here's this Kitty Pryde fight. He does it pretty good. Like, he still is a pretty decent damage dealer against these, like, Incinerate immune champions. It's just, like, he's not ideal for them because it's not his perfect scenario. But yeah, he still does a pretty good job at, like, maintaining control of the fight with, like, his power drain and everything. So, yeah, we're kind of chilling here. She gets pretty much no prowess, too, so that's also great. And, yeah, Prowler is also Incinerate immune. So if things get, like, kind of crazy with the prowess, which they literally can't, but like just in case, I guess, he will not take any Incinerate damage, so you're kind of just chilling there as well. So he does counter Kitty Pryde very, very well, except for that one little part, which, it's not the biggest deal. Like, I'm making a big deal out of it because like that is his only issue, I feel like. Well, that and like having that very tight rotation, but that honestly will just, take some getting used to, right? Like any champion rotation does. So it's like I think Prowler's a fine champion, and when your biggest complaint is that like he doesn't do a character perfectly, but he still does them very, very well, it's like, okay, this champion is obviously good, right? Because the complaints aren't that big, and the rotation, it'll just take some skill to master, right? But yeah, I see a pretty good future for this champion. Is he going to be like the new Tech Nuke in Battlegrounds? Honestly, maybe, because of his damage output. It's like really, really strong. And keep in mind, this is a rank 5 unascended Prowler, so like a rank 2 7-star or a rank 5 6-star ascended will honestly do some pretty awesome things. But yeah, this matchup is pretty much over. Just have to get it done, which we are not doing for some reason. I think here I dropped my double medium, but then she drops the SB2, so I'm like, okay, man, that's just so annoying. So yeah, there I end it, and yeah, that'll end this video as well. So Prowler is pretty cool. He is honestly one of the more fun champions of this year. He feels like a beast on attack sometimes, and yeah, I honestly want to see this character do well, and I think he will do well in like Battlegrounds, for example. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Prowler, and yeah, that's about it for me.